Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week this week, and thank you for taking a few minutes out of your morning to spend with me. I am Julie with Creations by Julie, and this is my Whatever Wednesday live. I go live once a week, and I try to show you either some home decor that's very simple to make or things that you can do for gifts. Last week we did some gnomes using the bags of rice and green beans and stuff like that. Today we're going to make some gnomes in 3 different sizes using a mop head. And we're going to start with the smallest one, which is basically going to be a gnome ornament. If you have friends that you think might like this craft, this again is something very simple and very easy. You're going to be shocked at how simple these ornaments are. Just if you would, I'd appreciate if you would share this video with your friends. It helps me build my small business. So I actually saw this about 2 weeks ago maybe on Christie's Craft Room, and I thought, well, those are really cute. Let me try it. So when I sat down, it was so much fun. These are addictive, I'm telling you, because then you start reaching for every type of material or ribbon that you might have to make them. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to show you the way I like to do it. You take your own spin on things. This is the first one I did, and I actually did it with material. Got it a little crooked, but there again, I found that the material was not as easy to work with as your 6-inch burlap. Your 6-inch burlap is thicker, and that's what we're going to use today. But you can see, you can either take the mop head and undo it, or this is one I did, just kind of a rustic vintage look that's got the lace, and I did not undo the beard. So you can do it any way you like it, but there's just so many options, and we'll look at these a little bit more when we talk about embellishing it. But in order to make the small gnomes ornaments for your trees, you're going to need some type of ribbon. Well, not really ribbon, because it needs to be about 6 inches or 6.5 inches. You can use material. I got this at Hobby Lobby. I've made a lot of stuff using this particular type of burlap. You can use regular burlap, just whatever you have on hand, really. But you're going to need that. You're going to need some twine, or you could use yarn. Also, you're going to need a mop head. Now, I ordered these a couple of years ago off of Amazon, and I got a really good price because I ordered 6. But I think I still have 2 of them left, and they come like in a square pack. This just almost looks like a little thing of hay or something, so packed in there. And I like these because they're really long. You can use a mop head from the Dollar Tree, but just know it will be a little bit different than what I show you because they're not as long. But if you want to go on Amazon and get one of the more commercial grade mop heads that have longer strings, just type in mop head for craft or something like that. I think there's one on there that I saw that's about $5 and free shipping. So, but you're going to need that. You're going to need some type of ribbon for, this is the wrong ribbon. I just noticed that. But you're going to need some ribbon to put at the top, or you could use the twine, either one. Would you go in there and look in that box on the bed that has in the green room, that has a bunch of things of ribbon in the corner? I think it's the right-hand corner. There's some really thin black that I want to use. Okay, and then you're going to need, for his nose, you buy these beads at Hobby Lobby. You don't really need the flat one. You need the smaller, like just a regular bead that has a hole in both ends. So that's what we're going to use for it. But I was going to tell you, I was talking about the mop heads. They have this piece, they're sewn together, and they have this piece of stuff laid across it. But if you just clip the threads in this, then you don't have to cut your mop. You just pull out a long piece. And see, these are really long. So the mop head was about this length. Thanks. Yeah, that's it. They're about this length. The ones from the Dollar Tree, somebody said you could take it and just pull one end of it and it would pull all the way through. But they're not this long. They're probably about like that. Which there again, that would be good for any of the gnomes we're going to do today except for the bigger one. And I like the longer. But anyway, you just clip and then just pull this loose and then you just got the loose mop. So let's see, and you're going to, of course, need some glue. You might want the little glue fingers for a couple of things that we're going to do today. Okay, so let's get started. And I'm going to do one using this black and white. Now this was, I think, the second one I did, and I didn't have any embellishments in here except this little stuff like that, so that's what I put on the corner of that one. But you can pick whatever you want to. So the first thing you're going to do is start, and you're going to cut about 6 inches of your burlap, and it depends on how thick your mop head is. I like to use the sewn edges for around the bottom. So you just want to make sure you have enough, you know, to cross over at the bottom. So you can measure it, and then you'll know, and you can, like I said, once you get going on them, you'll be addicted to them. Let's see how long this is. This is actually 8 inches. So I'm going to go with the 8 instead of the 6. But I probably will have to cut off a lot of that. I don't know, we'll see. Okay. So then you're finished with this. And just set your piece aside for the time being. But what we're going to do is almost cut like a semicircle up and back down with it. Okay, to get your mop, the beard, just cut a strip of twine. Doesn't have to be very long. And what I did, I think I went 10 inches because you're going to double it. Let's see. No, I must have went 12. 12 inches of the mop. And you're going to do about 15 of them. I think this is where I can get 3 out of one thing. They don't have to be exact. See, that one's just a little bit shorter, but that's okay. So you're going to do 15 of them. I could have already had this done, but it doesn't take that long. You can do more. I believe the first one I did 20, and then I decided, well, I don't need that many. Like that's 6. When you hop on, Ed's here to see any questions that you have. Hopefully he can see them. Tell us that you're here and where you're from. 9. So I'm going to do 2 more of them. That will give me 15. You could also do this with yarn, especially the chunky yarn that Walmart and Hobby Lobby has that would look really cute. The only yarn I had was black, and I didn't want one with a black beard, so, and I had plenty of the mop. So that's why I'm using the mop. So this will give me 15. Then you're going to take them and just, you know, get them a little even, but you're going to go to the middle because you're going to double this. Okay, just kind of find the middle. There again, you trim it. They don't have to be perfect. Take your twine and wrap it around and tie it really tight. That's going to give you the beard. If you wanted to, you could possibly leave your twine a lot longer, and then this could be your hanger too. But on most of mine, I did something different for the hanger. So I'm going to cut that off a little bit. All right, then you're going to take your material, and like I said, that's where you're going to take and put, I like the sewn edge. You want to go down, maybe an inch on your Yeah, I didn't need that big. But anyway, we'll fix it. All right, so what you're going to do is just kind of go from the edge and just kind of cut off some of this excess to where you go up and then right back down. That will allow you to take your material and make it into a point at the top. All right, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make my the hanger for it. So what I'm going to use on this one is the really thin black ribbon. And you want to make sure that you get enough of it for however long you want the hanger. You can do it really long, you can do it shorter. That's just up to you. And what I do is I put a knot in the end. Some people just lay it on there and glue it, but sometimes this stuff's really thin and the glue comes through. But what I like to do is just put a good knot in it. And then I'm going to take it and go, let's see, which way do I need to do this? I think it's up and under. Because you want this part of it. What kind of knot do you call that? I don't know. But anyway, you're just wrapping it around, and that way it's very secure. And see, that didn't leave me as much as I really wanted, but that's okay. All right. Now, the first one I did, I think I put glue here, but there again, if you're using fabric, you might want to put 2 pieces or double it. You could probably even double this to make it a stiffer hat. And one that I did, the material was kind of thin and the glue went through. I'll show you that later. I had to cover it up with an embellishment, a flower. So what I'm going to do is put the glue on the back and on this. And when you wrap it, you want to kind of go at an angle to where you can kind of get a point up there. So it's going to kind of come down on your mop head. And then the other one is, you're going to do the same thing, and it's going to come down. Get your point at the top. There again, I did not need to make this quite this long. I think I'm going to cut some of that off because that's way too long. So you're going to kind of make a cone. You can always go back and make it smaller, cut off some. Can y'all see what I'm doing? Does that make sense? You're kind of going to have V's down here. And you do that just so that you can get it kind of to a point. Because this is the back of him. You could fold it under, however you need to do it, to kind of get that little point at the top of your gnome. And you can burn the dickens out of your finger if you're not careful. All right, we'll put a little bit up here to get him to close up. Do we have anybody watching it? Okay, that's what I've got so far. See, I probably should have made his hanger just a little bit longer.
Brenda Brackett want to know how you doing today.
I'm doing great, Brenda. How are you? It has been beautiful weather here in Texas this week. I mean, really nice. I've done my walking in the mornings. there's a couple of mornings you just almost needed a jacket. Okay, now as far as your mop, you can leave it like this, or if you want to get this type of look to where it's really curly, then all you do, and this is probably takes longer than anything else, you're going to take most mop heads, it's like 4 pieces, and you don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to pull it out. But what you would do, if you can see what I'm doing, is I'm just unraveling those 4 little pieces. Then you could take a brush to it if you wanted to. But this is how you would get the curly look. And it just makes it look fuller. But you don't have to do that. And I'm not going to make you sit here while I do the whole thing. I just wanted to explain to you, how you would do it. You just take each strand of the mop and undo it. Now, there again, I tell you all the time, crafting is just you being creative. And you could make his beard as long as you wanted to make it. Just cut your pieces of the mop longer. And we're going to trim it at the end, so no big deal. And I won't do all these. I'll just do a few of them so you can, maybe we'll do this one half and half for now. I usually just kind of find the ones on the bottom and pull them. So you see the difference. I mean, if you wanted it curly, you would do this. If you want to just leave it straight, do this. All right, now we're going to put on his nose, and that's where the little bead for this one comes in. And these have a hole at both ends. So I thought, well, that's a perfect way to get in a little mustache. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece. And I couldn't get more than like double on there too. And just, it doesn't have to be very long for the mustache, maybe 6 inches. And that gives about 3 on each side. So I'm going to do it like this. And I found that before you cut it, if you take the very end of it where it's folded, you can put it in there and just kind of tighten it and twist it and push it through. If you can see. And it'll just get where you can grab the other end and pull it. I get them about even, and then what I do is kind of find the middle of my gnome, and to make sure this kind of stays, I just put a little bit of glue right here and on the other side too, and then put the glue across here. Then you're just going to take it. You want part of his nose kind of up and under his little hat, and then you just hold it there for a minute. And then you either can leave these or there again, you can undo them. I just personally like the curly look to it. It just kind of looks. And then you're ready to embellish him. I sat down the other day, y'all, and made these probably in an hour and a half. And I just was like, oh, okay, what other 6-inch stuff do I have that I can embellish them with? These would look really cute. Well, I did a red one. And see, this came from, I believe, Hobby Lobby in a set of about 4 or 5 or 6. And then that's how I embellished that one. That would look really, really good on this black and white one too. I made a Santa one. I just used the red burlap and put a piece. Remember last week we used the little microfiber cloth?
Brenda wants to know what size bead.
I took them all out of the package. This is probably, I don't even think that's an inch. But for these, it's the ones that actually have a hole in them. It's not the ones that are flat on the back. Maybe 3/4 of an inch or something like that. But it's the smaller beads. But you could put any size bead you wanted to on it, really, as long as you don't go real huge. But anyway, I did this one in the red and black. This one I'll embellish later, but let me just give you some ideas of how you can embellish them. I did one in the regular jute, and see, I made his hat longer, so he's a bigger ornament. And then here's the one I did in the black and white. Like I said, I just put that little flower on it. This is one. I actually used the mop as the hanger also, but this is the one that was kind of thin. And when I glued it to the front, the glue came through and you could see some white. So I had to kind of cover it up. But I just came up with that little flower and then put the bow there. And then this is one that I cut his beard a little shorter and just put lace. This is with the white poly burlap. Burlap, not poly burlap. But anyway, there's so many different things that you can do. You could... if your handwriting is nice enough, you could take a marker, personalize them with a name, for sure the year, but it's a fun craft to do with your kids. So that's our small gnome with the mop. And like I said, these for sure you can use the Dollar Tree mop head because you don't need the longer strings on them. Okay, let's put those aside and go to the next size up. There again, we're going to use the mop again on these next ones. And I tried to do some of it a little ahead of time. This time I'm going to show you how to do this one. Now his thing's a little wonky because he's been in my basket. This is actually made, the materials you need for this, and we're going to do one with a red sock for Santa. This bead's a little larger, and it's one of the, I think, 1 inch that has the flat. But this is made using a styrofoam cone. Okay, this is one where you'll burn your fingers if you're not really careful. I made this one out of the green. So I had to go back and kind of add where you couldn't see the green. So when I went to buy the cones for this, I got white. And you get 2 of them for $4.99, I think it is. But there again, $4.49. I either used my 40% off coupon on this, I think. I never pay full price for anything at Hobby Lobby. So you're going to need a cone. I chose this size because he just makes a cute shelf sitter. You could use the bigger cone and do a bigger gnome.
Where'd you get the mop head?
I ordered this mop head. Actually, I got 6 of them off of Amazon. And I think when you order 6... I think I got them for about $4.50 a piece or something like that. I've had them over a year. You can get, I looked the other day and I did see one, I think it has an orange thing that's sewn on it. And it was like $5 or something like that. You can use any mop head that you find anywhere. I liked these because like I said, they're long. So anyway, you're going to need that. You're going to need, we're going to do a Santa, so we're going to use a red sock. We're going to use a little bit of stuffing, not a whole lot because I don't want him standing up straight like that. With Santa, here is the microfiber cloth I was telling you about. And really all I have left that has a sewn is this part here, but that's plenty big enough to use on him. And you could do in black and white. I'm going to need that marker. And you need, for Santa, you'll need pom-pom for the top. This one, I just stuffed. And then I just tied the mop around the top. Okay, so to do this one, you want to start gluing your mop head about 1 inch down. And you want your mop string, I usually double because it's just easier to glue. But you want it, you just measure whatever size cone. And you want it to come just below the cone a little bit, not a whole lot. So you just do whatever size. I'm going to do that. So that is 13 inches. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of them 13 inches. Don't throw away any scraps because you can use it for the beard. And I'm just going to get started on this. I actually have one that I've done, so you don't have to sit here and watch me glue all the way around it. So we're just going to do a couple of these. And you might have to add some when you're done if you see any spots. All right, that'll be enough for you to show, for me to show you how I did it. Okay, I like to take a marker. There again, it's going to be covered up, so it does not have to be perfect, but I just kind of like to have a, and I'm going to come down about 1.5 inches or 2 inches, and I'm just going to draw a line around my cone. That just kind of gives me a starting spot. And try to stay, see, even my line's not straight, but that's no big deal. Then what you're going to do, okay, is take your yarn and double it. It just glues better. If you end up getting a mop head, I don't know how long the ones from the Dollar Tree are, excuse me, but if the people that I saw do it, they did it one at a time, just one little piece at a time. If your mop head's longer, I suggest you double it, and you want them pretty close together. So what you do is just run a thing of glue. It'll dry too fast, so you're just going to put a couple of them on here. And you just bend them, glue them, and kind of push them together. So you do just a few at a time. And you want to go all the way around with your mop. See, it's already trying to come on, or the glue's trying to dry. And I usually get glue on it and then push them together a little bit. Can you see? So you're going to get that going. And then just push it down. All right. Now, once you have done this all the way around, I go back and I put glue on top here, and I do a second row. So you're going to do 2 rows of your mop. There again, doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be covered up. Okay, does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on how you get your mop on your cone? And it's going to go all the way around. Now, what I do, the first one I did, I didn't do this next step. And when I went to do this part, I pulled several loose because they weren't in the glue. And I went back and added some at the bottom. So what I decided to do for the next one, I took my glue gun and I just went all over it. So everything had glue. Looks a little weird, but then you don't pull the strings out when you go to frill your mop. Okay, so I have one that I've already gone all the way around. Let's see to get it. And I did, after I got them on there, you can see where I put the glue? But that's okay. And that way now this takes a little bit of time, but you can do it while you watch TV. You just undo all the little pieces. If you don't want to do that, you can leave it like this. That's just entirely up to you. But this is one. See, I've gone back and added glue. So they're all attached. And I could just take them and undo the, whatever it's called. They're not braided, really. They're just kind of twisted together. But it just gives it that really curly look. Now, when you're done, and it really didn't take that many of them to go all the way around, and 2 rows of them, one on top of the other. When you're finished with this, I would suggest doing the white cones because you don't see it near as much. But if you see a spot that you think needs extra, just take it and separate it and then just glue here to add a shorter piece. Does that make sense? If you need it fuller and you think part of it looks too thin, of course you could use that as the back of your gnome also. Just put a shorter piece right there. Okay. So if that makes sense, once you get all that done, then you're going to put the hat on him. And there again, use a sock. I'm going to do a Santa one. So I'm going to use the red. And I think I'm, let's see. If it's got like a heel, you might want to put that in the back so you can push it on down. I think I'm going to put a little bit of stuffing in him. I don't want that much. I don't want to where his hat sticks up that much. But I think I want just a little bit of stuffing right there. So I'm just going to put it at the end of my, because I want his hat to flop over a little bit. Now I have not trimmed this one or anything, so. Okay, I think that's good. Just a tiny bit. And you can tell, you might want to look around your cone and find the thinnest spot and make that the back, because you do push the sock down pretty far. Okay, so once you get your hat on him, you're going to put a little bit of glue back here. Now, since I want him to look like a Santa hat, this is where I'm going to add the fiber cloth. Let's see if that's going to go all the way around him. That's not quite. So what I may do, you can see I didn't cut straight for sure. I'm going to make him a little bitty hat. A little thing for his hat. And it just has to be enough to go around, all the way around him. And I found this fiber cloth at the Dollar Tree. I think you got 2 of them for $1. It's not a lot of fur, it's just a little bit. And it does shed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and fold it on both. Make it thinner, but yet give it a little bit of straight edge to it, to where it's not fraying, getting snow everywhere. And I'm just going to do both sides. You could use ribbon. You could use just about anything you wanted to for his. To me, that just, it makes it look more like a Santa gnome, instead of just putting the red sock on it. But you could put any color. I had thought, I have one that's like a pretty blue and white, which would have been Sweeney colors. You can do a sock, or you can just do a black and white gnome, and you wouldn't need this band or anything, but doesn't take a lot of materials. You've got your cone, your mop head. Just search Amazon. A lot of times grocery stores sell just the mop head too. But in Amazon, just type in mop head for crafts, and you get just the mop head, and then you take it apart by clipping the thing in the middle that's got them sewn together. I don't know why I'm not using my, this is making my nose itch. I'm not using my finger things on this, because this is short. I didn't leave a whole lot of space there. So we're going to go up in size. I got one more gnome to show you, and it's more for one to hang on the wall or your door. So we went from the little bitty one, and I'll show them all to you when we get done. The little bitty one, which is more an ornament.
Emma's watching.
Good morning, Emma. To one that is a shelf setter. So to get his band here, I'm just gonna start in the front. The way I want him. And just put a little bit of glue. Doesn't take much. I even got the white fuzz on the end of my glue gun. Just run it along the bottom of your sock. And just hold it for a second. So far we haven't glued the sock in the front, but we will. Okay, let's put another glue stick in there. Okay. All right, now for his nose, we're going to use one of the beads that's flat. And you just pick what size you want. I think that's a pretty good size for him. That would definitely be too big. And for his mustache, I think I just kind of put it underneath. So let's get him at the front where he sits flat. Okay. And I'm just going to glue his little nose on there. You can give him a mustache if you want to, but you don't have to. Just glue it straight onto your mop. And if you want to give him a mustache, you just cut smaller. Well, you can actually use these. And you would just do 3 probably would be enough. And then what I do is I tie it with an actual piece of, fold it in half and then just tie it in the middle. And then you can just use those ends for another part. Just pull it tight, put it in a knot. And then you're going to use that knot to like put right up and under his nose. Now I didn't get his nose quite as far under his cap as I wanted it. And I think it's already glued. So this one doesn't really cover his cap. But that's okay. All right, if I had white, and of course I would take these and spread them out also, and then cut them probably, just depending. You just use your imagination and do it the way you like it. Undoing them probably is the most time consuming. All right, so this was your middle size gnome. And I would do both sides, of course, before I finished him and trimming. If I had any white ribbon in here, that's what I would use to tie the little knot up here, or the little bitty rubber bands, but I'm just going to use a piece of this.
Brenda Bracken said that's okay if his nose isn't under the hat.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing about handmade things. No, you could have two people sitting here doing it, and it would look a little different because nobody does things exactly alike, and that's good. All right, and I'm going to use the little pom-pom garland. Got to get him sitting straight again. Whoops. Since these are two, I want to make them look more like one. So I'm going to kind of put them together. Hold them there for a minute. You wouldn't have had to have put any filling in there. I just want his hat to move over a little bit.
Where did you get the pom-pom garland?
Hobby Lobby. $3.99. It was 50% off in the Christmas section. 90% of my supplies come from Hobby Lobby. And like I said, I don't ever, well, I may have a time or two if there's something that I just love and it was under $5, but very seldom do I ever buy anything that's not on sale, or I use my coupon. So let's just undo him, because I like the curly look. And like I said, you could do these in your school colors, if you can find a pair of socks in the school colors. I had a real pretty blue and white, but I decided to do a Santa one. Emma, you can try this, and I'll give you the blue and white sock, and you can make one for Sweeney. Okay. Of course, the best way usually is to turn him upside down. All right, now what I would do is just take him. I don't have all of his beard. I would probably, on this one, because see how I stuck his beard right there? And if you take it apart, I would probably add a little to his fullness right there, because of the little nose, pull the stuff apart. But then I would just take the scissors and hold him above a trash can and just clip off the edges to where he's kind of straight. There again, doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so there's our little Santa gnome. There again, if you want his hat to do a certain thing, just put a little piece of glue on it. Oh, and I didn't undo all the little things, but I will when we get done. Okay, so that's the middle size one. Now let's go to the large one. Now it's the one that you want to try to use long strips of mop. And you're going to use, there's a couple of different things. You're going to need a couple of zip ties for it. If your Dollar Tree has these hats, you can use this hat. I get all my Santa hats usually from Hobby Lobby. So if you were going to use this one, you could just put this hat all the way and it would just stand up. So you'd go all the way down as far as you can put it. And you would add the mop here. Okay, take this stuff off and add the mop. Same way we're going to add it. But I'm going to show you how to do it on one of these small rings. These are also from the Dollar Tree, and they have, I think they're 8 inches, and they have them 2 for $1. Yeah, 8 inches. So what you're going to do on it is, I like to find the 2 crossbars, okay? And I'm going to make sure that I attach my mop head at a little bit above those 2 crossbars so that it covers the whole thing. And let me get this yarn. This is where I like the really long strands. See how long this strand is? You go with what you've got though. But to me, one this size needs the longer beard. So what you're going to do to attach these is double it, whatever length you have. If you don't have maybe this length, if you double it, it's going to be really short. You might have to just tie each one individually on here. You could glue it or tie it. But if you have the longer mop head, you take this and you're going to, on each, there's 3 rings. So you're going to, I think I did it from the bottom. Start at the bottom. And slip knot, I think is what it's called. Is that what it's called, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to figure out if you want this little thing in the front or the back. This bottom row, it doesn't really matter. This is just to give you your fullness. And you're not going to go all the way around the ring, so don't think, oh my gosh, that'll take forever. Because it really doesn't. And you just do the slip knot to attach them. And I got some of Santa's red sock fuzz in there. So that's how you're going to attach them and push them close together. Okay? And this is the length of your beard, so you don't want it real short. This is probably too long, and I would trim it up. But let me get some more. I have one done. I'll show you in a minute. But you're going to go from this bar to this bar on each ring. And that makes a really full beard. With this one, I did not, the one I did ahead of time, so you didn't have to sit and watch me do all this. I did not pull apart the beard, the mop heads. All right, so now once you've got the bottom row done, then you go to the second row. Same thing. And just tighten it up. And I'm telling you, it looks like it takes a lot of mop head, but it really doesn't. Like I said, when I ordered these on Amazon last year to make Santas and stuff, I think when I got started this year, I still had 3 of them left. So they go a long way. All right, so you're going to do the same thing, second row.
How big? How was the frame, Brenda?
8 inch. They're from the Dollar Tree that they've started carrying. You get 2 for $1. You could do it on any inch. It would just take more. A larger hat, and this is a toddler hat. So if you did a bigger frame, the hat has to be able to go across the frame. So you would need the adult hat. I have done a couple of Santas using the adult hat. Okay, so like that would be row 2. You could do this with yarn too. All 3 projects could be done with yarn instead of this. All right, so if I've gone all the way on row 2, then you're going to start on row 1. And it's a little harder because you don't have a whole lot of room there to go in there and get it. But anyway, so that's what you're going to do. All the way across the bottom. Okay, does that make sense? You're just repeating the same thing over and over and over. And the reason you want it from this side to this side, you'll see in a minute when you go to put the hat on it, it needs to cover. Okay, so you're going to do this about that much. Let me show you the one I've already got done. Okay, here's one that I've already done. That's what your back looks like. If you want this to be the front, which that's kind of a cool, seeing the little knot thing, you just have to go, I think you have to figure out which way. I went under, I think you go over and pull it to dip that, but this worked fine. But see, that's a pretty long beard. You don't have to have it that long, but you want this much of your frame at least covered. And you see, I went like 3, none on this side, like 3 extra, okay? So that gets your beard. You can leave it like this, or you can sit down to watch a movie and undo all of them. I did some last year, I believe, with a wood face, and I sat and undid all these, and I'm telling you, it takes a while. But if you're watching TV or something, and it really does make it a curly beard, but it's thick enough, you can just leave it like this. Okay, here's where your zip ties are going to come in. Because you don't want to see any of this frame. You don't want to see the hole right there. I'm going to try 2 of them and see. I'm telling y'all, that white stuff really got to me. Okay, so you're going to take your hat, put it over your frame, and you want to come down. Remember, it's a gnome. So you don't want to see the opening here. So fit your hat on there. And these toddler hats fit really nice on these 8-inch frames. I want to come down as far as I can come so that when I put his nose right there, you don't see anything, okay? And I want the bottom of his hat to come on down about right there, because that's going to help hold the nose on. You can zip tie. I for sure like to zip tie the sides, and the way I do that is I just undo the cap and I take a like an ice hole punch, ice pick on all. It's ice pick, and punch a hole and take my little zip ties and zip tie the hat on. So you can't even see that. Let me make sure it's where I want it to be. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Can you see how I'm going up and under the hat? Punch a hole, and I'm attaching it to that outer bar. Ah. Now I lost my hole. I might could just stick this zip tie through there anyway without a hole. Okay. Aren't you see when you do that though, you still have just a little bit right here, but you're going to be putting your nose there. So take the back part of the hat and pull it. It won't be straight, but it doesn't matter. Pull it down and glue it to your mop, or use a zip tie. Or do both. keep it there. And to have it look nicer, you could put just a little bit of glue here on the hat too, so that it comes back up. But you see how I covered, how it kind of fills in that hole? All right, now this, you can put a little bit of glue on your hat or just let it, it's not going to go any further than about right there because that frame's there. Just let it flop if you want to. Okay. Kind of find the middle. You're going to need one of the big beads for him. Okay. And I believe he will fit just right there on the mop. And I already have him a little beard, done the same way as I did the other. And I'm going to put it like right up and under his nose, like this.
It's actually a mustache.
Yeah, true, it is a mustache, not a beard. Okay, so just hold it for a minute. I like these done with the curl, but it does take some time. But you can do it. You can sit here and do each one of these. Do a little at a time and then stop. A little at a time and stop. Okay. And you can make his mustache as long or as short as you want to, where it fits right up and under the nose. One thing about gnomes, there's not, since you don't have to worry with eyes and all that other stuff, it's not a lot to them. You just get that beard done. Okay. Once I have him on there and hold him up, I'm going to take his cap and put just a little bit of glue on his nose here, where it kind of sits on the top of his nose. Okay, now if you want to, when you want to hang him, and I'm going to use this jute because it's what I've got. You can feel the wire back here. This is the top one. This is the second one. What I'm going to do is lift up the part here, and I am going to knot all the way through the hat. In fact, there's a crossbar right there. I can feel it. So I'm going to put a hole. You can do it with scissors. Just a little bitty hole. And I'm going to cut some jute. This probably would have been easier if I'd done it before I hot glued to the back here. But anyway, that's how you would run your jute through there to make a hanger for him. And it should be kind of in the center since that's okay, I'm trying to feel it because I want to make sure I get it around that crossbar. Probably should have got some tweezers, but you get the idea. You don't want to just hang something on his hat without it being attached to the frame, because then that would just pull his hat loose. And I can feel it, I just can't find that other little hole. Don't really want to do another one. Okay. And make it as long or as short as you want it. You don't want it to show above. You don't want it to show once his hat comes over, or you could glue his hat right there a little bit. Now, if you felt like you wanted to put a little glue there on the hat, you could. But I don't think it's not like a fabric that's gonna keep ripping. And I usually don't like my knot to show, so I put it like under the hole. And just add just a tad of glue right there to make sure it all stays down. And that's it. I may go back and add because his hat's wanting to flop straight down, so I may go back and put just a little bit of glue right there for that. But that's the bigger one. Okay, this was a little bit longer today, but we did three different sizes of the gnomes with the mop head. You have this big one, the Santa. We did the smaller one, Santa. I had also done this one just in the regular sock. And then I had all these that are ornaments. You can use the red burlap and do a Santa. You can do the black and red. Just figure out whatever type of however you want to embellish them. I did this one that's actually the red and the black stripe. This is the one we did this morning. I have not embellished him or finished his beard. Then the shabby one that's not curled. And then I just put lace on it, because I didn't have a whole lot of embellishments in here. And then the one I made a little bit taller with just burlap, and put a little snowflake and button on him. So I'm telling you, the ornaments are addictive once you start making them. It doesn't take very long, and it's just fun to embellish them. But be looking for little things like that you can embellish them with. These would be great if your family does a swap of Christmas ornaments, or say you want to hand make something this year for Christmas for people. Those are really cute, and it would be something they could use year after year. And then all the way up to putting something on your door. So I hope you've enjoyed the gnomes. We're done with gnomes for this year, I think. I did the ones last week with the socks, and the bags of rice and stuff, and then we did these. Next week we're going to do something a little bit different. It's going to be a Santa, and I have actually put a kit in my shop. I think I put it in there yesterday, to where you can buy everything to make it. I even cut the mesh for you. You get everything. Ed, you want me to hand? He's kind of big, but this is for your front door, and I have not finished putting the hat on this one because I wanted to get some pictures. But this is what we're going to do next week. This is actually a kit that I have in my shop. It's made on the Unique in the Creek board. You get the board. This is vinyl, a vinyl insert. I will put the vinyl insert on it for you. You get, I believe it's almost 40 pieces of mesh. I will cut it with the wood burning tool so it doesn't fray so bad. You get the hat. You get the zip ties. You get everything you need to make this Santa, and I'm going to show you how to make him on next Wednesday's live. That's why I haven't attached the hat to it yet, because I want to show you how to attach the hat. So it's a beautiful picture of a Santa face. Last year I did one, the face was a little bit different, but this one has I don't know if you can see the detail in his face. It's so much detail. It's so very pretty. But the kit is available now. I believe it's $49, and you get everything. If you wanted to order it now, you could have it by next Wednesday and make it along with me. But it's very smooth on the back, and it's pretty good size. He's about 24 inches. So anyway, that's our project for next Wednesday. I hope you'll join me. I hope you will spread the love and share this video with your friends. And I will see you next Wednesday. Thanks. Bye.